You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
It's really hard for y'all to discern what's real and what's true, you know? And I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. People be making memes. I see the memes. I see them now. Some of that stuff is funny. Some of it's funny. But I haven't addressed any of this publicly, but I just want to say this very clearly. I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all their memes. I can stop all of that. I ain't been nowhere near no damn freak off. Listen, I do enough of my own. Don't be putting me in other people's.
For years, some of the biggest forces in entertainment operated behind a carefully maintained quiet, not because doubts were absent, but because challenging the narrative came with consequences. Now, through 50 Cent's documentary, that quiet is being confronted not with chaos, but with clarity and control. As focus sharpens once again on Diddy, and renewed attention surrounds Will Smith, a single question cuts through the distraction. What remained concealed all this time? Not because it couldn't be seen, but because silence made it impossible to confront.
Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on a threesome and you were gonna beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
You really heard that? Nah.
What? Yeah, I watched it on the internet. You're telling me I can't believe everything I read?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
The lack of response becomes a narrative of its own. When a system shields itself through postponement, the moment of finally speaking is never neutral, it fractures carefully preserved balances. If silence carried influence for years, its breakdown forces a deeper question. What was that quiet truly guarding all along?
It's not happening.
You don't understand. Do you understand why he slapped Chris? Did you see in that moment from probably what he was dealing with?
What was he dealing with? What the f was he dealing with?
Something made him slap his
No,
brother, man.
something didn't make him snap anything. He laughed at that bad joke that Chris said like everybody else. And then Jada looked at him and it was like the Manchurian Candidate.
Not the Manchurian.
Real life. If that shit ain't real life,
It ain't real life. Just say real thing. Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Now I have to ask before we get out because I don't want to forget it. Your earrings just reminded me of Black Power, Black Excellence, and I just need your take on it because Emancipation comes out in 1 hour. Came out December 9th, which is today's the 9th, right?
That's such a fucking below the belt fucking question.
No, but I just got
It's the only below the belt question that you asked because you already know what's gonna happen. Don't front. We've been down there. Fuck Will Smith.
No, wait.
He can kiss my ass.
Wait.
He should have never slapped Chris. I'm not watching the movie.
Damn it.
It's not happening.
You don't understand. Do you understand why he slapped Chris? Did you see in that moment from probably what he was dealing with?
What was he dealing with?
Shit, I don't know.
What the fuck was he dealing with?
Something made him slap his
No,
brother, man.
something didn't make him snap anything. He laughed at that badass joke that Chris said like every fucking body else. And then Jada looked at him and it was like the Manchurian Candidate.
Not the Manchurian. Not the Manchurian, god damn it.
That's what the fuck happened.
I thought there's a legion of women who said, I'm glad for Will fighting for his woman.
Yeah, because they still want to believe that sham of a fucking marriage is real.
Oh. Well, there you go.
He ain't never gonna be Tupac, and she proved it when she fucked August Alsina.
Ooh, man. Yeah.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray.
What remained concealed was never one isolated moment, but a recurring pattern, connections justified by success, closeness dismissed as chance. Diddy's influence operated in plain sight, yet was seldom questioned beyond status and reach. Familiarity erased skepticism, and repetition numbed awareness. The message here is cultural, not accusatory. Patterns disappear when they are labeled ordinary. The real question is how much stays hidden simply because it has been accepted as normal for far too long.
It all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff and he's in exotic bookstores and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he's going, I'm just looking at the places where he's picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo. I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still gonna tease him. I'm still gonna mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs, and he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. So when he got I just waited at the counter. So when he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like he gave the guy a stack, something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew to G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina. So
Power almost never operates in isolation. It moves through closeness. Those positioned near it gain advantages quietly over time, while unseen risks steadily build beneath the surface. In this kind of environment, separation is rarely accidental. It's calculated. Proximity becomes currency, and distance becomes a deliberate choice, shaped more by strategy than by instinct.
When they were in the room and they would go in the room with another couple, right? And I've seen some things happen in the jacuzzi. Like when I'm the only one could go to the room 9 times out of 10. When Puff was the one who, you know, was in the presidential suite, I'm the only one allowed. I gotta watch the door. No one can get into that door. I'm the only one that had the pass key or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you would hear boo 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 boo, a thump or whatever the situation is and stuff like that. Yo, what's up? Everything good? And sometimes they will open the door. I'm right there by the door. Sometimes you see things you don't want to see.
Hey, did they ever try to get you involved? Or
not at all.
Offer you?
Not at all. Puff did it one time, but that's in my book. When he was coming from Dallas, he had the snow bunnies. And I reneged on that. Nah, I'm good.
Hey, did you see any celebrities Puffy did any of that stuff with, the swinger stuff with?
Yeah, I did.
Tell me about that.
I think I told you about that. One time, him and somebody, Sarah, and this young girl flew from Atlanta. And they, and flying from Atlanta, we had this artist with us, right? And we were staying in the presidential suite at the hotel. And this particular artist and Puff, they told me, don't let nobody come in the room. So I said, all right, cool. So I propped my chair by the room door.
The nearer someone stands to influence, the greater the price of questioning it too soon. When closeness offers rewards upfront and consequences only emerge later, the balance is never equal. Opportunity arrives quickly, accountability much slower, and when the narrative finally turns, the unresolved risk doesn't disappear, it transfers. The real tension lies in who is left to carry that weight when the story changes and protection fades.
How the fuck you gonna play in a movie called Emancipation and you can't emancipate yourself?
Ooh. Bars.
Cause you trapped in a hole. My nigga, you trapped in a hole. This bitch clowning you day after day after day after day. And once again, I hate saying these things because their children are dope. But Jaden's kind of MIA. And considering that he emancipated from their household at 16 and refused to come back even to do family interviews. You know?
Yeah.
Willow's just kind of, she's dope. Too much shit happened in that fucking house. Too much shit happened in that fucking house. And meanwhile, I go to jail for defending my child and these niggas don't even get a CPS fucking visit for the kind of shit they kids see. You know?
There you go.
So yeah, I'll watch the movie when, I'll watch Emancipation when he emancipates himself from the hell that he lives in, that he tries to call marriage with that woman who still wished Tupac was alive.
Will Smith's public separation signals a shift from quiet discretion to deliberate boundary setting. In today's media environment, denial is more than a response, it's an indicator that the narrative has crossed a critical point. Delivered with restraint and visibility, it establishes distance without igniting confrontation. But timing speaks as loudly as words. When separation is asserted only after silence becomes a liability, it raises a sharper question about what it truly costs to speak before the pressure makes restraint impossible.
But enjoy the film, buy lots of popcorn. I ain't supporting shit he fucking do. He's a bad representation for black men. He is literally the epitome of a ballless man. I'm sick and tired of people making our black men look weak. I'm sick and tired of that shit because I don't know no nigga that would put up with the shit that bitch done put him through. Now you could justify staying because you ain't want to cut up the money because she would have got the child support and the alimony, but the kids is grown. So if you staying now, it's either because you being blackmailed to stay or you too lazy to go. He housebroken. That don't fit right for a Philly nigga. But he did grow up in Overbrook though. He didn't technically grow up in West Philly. That was Jazzy Just Life he was writing about. He lived over there, not far from where Kobe Bryant grew up. That's the other side of City Avenue. He came up Overbrook, so they had big houses and he wasn't at the playground get beat up. That was Jazzy Jeff.
A documentary reshapes the terrain entirely. By arranging scattered moments into timeline and context, 50 Cent shifts the dialogue from speculation to documented focus. This isn't a judgment, it's a recalibration of attention, forcing a reassessment of which questions were allowed to linger and which were quietly abandoned. The power lies not in accusations, but in exposure through structure, revealing how selective curiosity shaped what the public examined and what it let disappear.
Documentary that's been going on, man, it's still number one as far as I know, man. I mean, I don't know how many millions of times this thing has been streamed, but this thing it's kind of crazy how big this thing actually is, you know, because us that's been following for a really long time, you know, kind of heard a lot of the stuff, man, but people are still going crazy for it, man. So what was your first reaction when you first seen it?
When I first seen it, I said, damn, they stole my whole damn idea. You understand? Because I was talking to the producers, and before I talked to the executive director, and the producers knew, I was telling them what I was bringing to the table. Because I was trying to get a deal for me, Kirk, and Tim all together. Like a package deal. I wanted to try to get like 50,000.
Long-form investigation disrupts an industry that survives on short memory by refusing to let narratives fade. When careful documentation replaces casual dismissal, the focus shifts from momentary reaction to lasting record. In that shift, permanence becomes power, raising a critical question. When stories are preserved instead of ignored, who ultimately determines which version endures and defines the truth moving forward?
I told them what we was bringing to the table, who was going to tell a story, how they was going to tell a story. You know, I didn't know exactly what they were going to say, but I knew Tim grew up with Puff, so he can get the childhood thing. So I'm going and telling them the whole angle in which I would like for this to go. You know what I'm saying? What we was bringing to the table. I didn't know how they was going to do it, but I was saying, this is what we're going to bring to the table. Tim could start off with the childhood part of it because they grew up together. That's Tim Dog, Tim Patterson. Also, you know, he was the one who was working at Uptown. He was executive over there of A&R and all that other stuff. He went to Island Records. He used to work with over there at Arista, the whole 9 yards. Tim is the one who had the Lost Boys. If you remember the Lost Boys, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Tim was the manager of them. That was his group and everything like that. So Tim had a lot of inside and a lot of stuff to do with Puff. I had a lot of other people I could have brought to the table too. Eddie F, who taught Puff how to work the board and everything like that. Just Eddie F, Heavy D, and the boys DJ. I was gonna try to get Eddie and some other people like that, but it fell through because the lady was telling me what somebody else didn't give me or what somebody else didn't pay me, and she was being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I thought she was a white lady. I'm finding out she's a sister.
The reaction to scrutiny exposes how uneven accountability truly is. Some individuals encounter swift consequences, while others remain shielded by reputation, influence, or strategic alliances. The renewed attention surrounding Diddy, alongside the ripple effect touching Will Smith, highlights how protection is often built into systems rather than tied to individuals. This isn't about hidden plots, but structural design. When accountability only emerges after silence loses its value, it raises a fundamental question about whether any system operating that way can honestly claim fairness or consistency.
You know, Diddy has a long list of victims. You know, I mean, you got Cassie, Kurt Burrows, Shine, Little Rod, Mark Curry. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The list goes on of all the people who he's did wrong. You know, out of all the people you've heard of, and all the stories that you heard, and the stuff that you know about, you know, who do you think is like Diddy's biggest victim?
Who I think Diddy's biggest victim is?
Yep.
The mothers.
Okay.
Big's mama. Wolf's mother. The people that lost their sons. They could never get that back, especially with those are the two people that changed his life, put him on that pedestal to be a great producer. So I believe the mothers in them that lost their sons are the biggest victims of it all.
Man, that's deep, man. That's crazy, man. You know, because I mean, you know, you brought up Big and the mom, and in the documentary they even talk about Diddy not paying for the funeral, acting like he's gonna pay it, but then billing it to Biggie. What was your thoughts on that? When you seen that, were you surprised when you seen that?
No, I wasn't surprised, you know, because they said that when Big died, he built the estate. He took it out of Big's his budget. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I wonder who got the life insurance policy. It was crazy.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon, so hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.
Silence is almost never unplanned, it is rewarded. Progress is often secured through access, continuity, and alignment, while resistance risks isolation. This documentary explores how quiet becomes a form of currency, exchanged for opportunity and sustained by the fear of destabilizing what already works. When speaking up carries greater risk than staying still, restraint becomes the logical move. And if truth endangers survival within the structure itself, it forces a final, unsettling question. How open can any system truly be when silence is built into its success?
Well, what I said is that isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house? If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was gonna find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You gotta realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put him past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They gotta test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are.
Deal. Let's get right into it. Diddy, he got indicted. You called it, man. A few weeks ago, you was on the platform and you said that he was going to get arrested in September.
Yeah, man. Anybody who in law enforcement or people know the law, when Homeland Security ran up into his house, people will tell you, or people knew that it was just a matter of time that they was going to indict him and bring him in to see the judge, bro. It was just a matter of time. I just figured out with the grand jury and their different sessions and stuff like that, and then what one of the witnesses told me, I just figured it out that it was going to be around September that they were going to bring him in, bro. It's people might not understand. It's difficult when you see a brother that has so much promise become an icon as far as in the music business and stuff that he did to turn around and just tear his whole life down. But it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles, you got to have morals, you got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better. And if you know better, you will do better. When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bruh. Then he started doing things to people. You understand that?
This story doesn't end with a denial or the release of a documentary. It marks the start of a reckoning. What remained obscured for years is now contending with records, collective memory, and sustained scrutiny. 50 Cent, Diddy, and Will Smith each stand in different roles within the same structural tension of influence, access, and challenge, exposing how silence once stabilized the industry and how its fracture introduces volatility. The central question remains unanswered. Once quiet is disrupted, does truth take its place, or does the system simply evolve more sophisticated ways to preserve itself?